Julius Caesar wasn't just a military genius or a political strategist. He was also a master of populism. In an era where the Roman senatorial elite controlled wealth and power, Caesar broke away from the aristocratic traditions by appealing directly to the common people. His ability to connect with ordinary Romans, soldiers, and the urban poor made him a hero to the masses, but a significant threat to the Senate. They saw his rising popularity as a dangerous challenge to their dominance. Caesar's populism aimed to upend the entrenched power structures, and the echoes of this strategy can still be seen in modern political movements, where charismatic leaders seek to mobilize popular support against established elites. At a time when the gap between rich and poor in Rome was growing wider, Caesar positioned himself as the champion of the disenfranchised. Through his policies of land redistribution, debt relief, and his push to extend citizenship to Rome's allies in the provinces, Caesar sought to address the inequalities that the senatorial class had long ignored. These reforms directly benefited soldiers, veterans, and the urban poor, who had been neglected by the wealthy landowners controlling the Senate. Caesar's populism wasn't just about policies, it was about image. He became known for extravagant public games, the distribution of grain to the poor, and his ability to speak to the people in a way that made them feel valued. While many Roman elites kept their distance and focused on maintaining their own wealth, Caesar embraced the spectacle of Roman public life. He used it to build a loyal base of supporters. For ordinary Romans, Caesar wasn't just another politician. He was their advocate in a political system that rarely took their needs into account. For the senatorial elite, Caesar's populism was deeply unsettling. The Senate was dominated by a few wealthy families who had controlled Roman politics for centuries. Power was traditionally passed through elite networks and patronage, not through appeals to the masses. Caesar's decision to bypass these power structures and speak directly to the people threatened their long-standing authority. The Roman aristocracy viewed Caesar's popularity as a fundamental challenge not only to their political power, but also to the entire social order. Roman elites valued the idea of mos maiorum, the customs of their ancestors, and saw Caesar's populism as a rejection of these traditional values. His growing influence among the people allowed him to undermine the Senate, reducing it to a ceremonial body while he effectively ruled through the masses' support. The Senate's fear of Caesar wasn't just that he was gaining too much power. It was a fear that he would dismantle the hierarchical system that had kept them at the top of Roman society. If Caesar could appeal directly to the people and use their support to enact reforms, the Senate's role as the gatekeeper of political power would vanish. One of the most significant aspects of Caesar's populism was his ability to rally support from the military, particularly his loyal legions. His reforms, like the promise of land for veterans, ensured the unwavering loyalty of the soldiers who fought under him. This created a dangerous dynamic for the Senate, as Caesar's personal relationship with the army meant he could wield military power without Senate approval. Traditionally, the Senate relied on the military for defense, but feared it as a political tool. So when Caesar crossed the Rubicon in 49 BCE, defying the Senate's orders to disband his legions, it was the ultimate expression of his populist power. By using his popularity with both the people and the military, Caesar was able to directly challenge the authority of the Senate, leading to a civil war that would ultimately bring an end to the Republic. Caesar's rise to power through populism has striking parallels to modern political movements. Like Caesar, many modern populist leaders gain power by mobilizing support from citizens who feel neglected by traditional political institutions. These leaders often position themselves as outsiders, willing to challenge entrenched elites and bring real change, much like Caesar positioned himself against the Senate. Both in Caesar's time and in modern populist movements, there is often deep distrust of established institutions. In ancient Rome, Caesar's supporters saw the Senate as corrupt and self-serving, more interested in protecting elite wealth than governing for the people's good. Similarly, many modern populist movements are fueled by anger toward institutions perceived as out of touch with ordinary citizens' needs. But populism carries risks. In both ancient and modern contexts, it can lead to the concentration of power in the hands of a single leader. Caesar's populism paved the way for his rise as dictator for life, signaling the end of the Roman Republic. Caesar's story serves as both an example of the power of populism and a warning about its potential to undermine democratic institutions. The legacy of Caesar's populism played a critical role in the collapse of the Roman Republic. His ability to rally the people to his side gave him the power to defy the Senate. At the same time, his reforms threatened the traditional social and political hierarchies that had governed Rome for centuries. For the Senate, Caesar's rise meant the loss of their monopoly on power and the beginning of a new era in Roman politics, one defined by emperors rather than elected officials. While Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE was an attempt to stop his populist rise, it was too late to save the Republic. His death accelerated the shift toward autocratic rule. His nephew, Octavian, later known as Augustus, would consolidate power and establish the Roman Empire. Caesar's populism changed Rome forever. His appeal to the people challenged aristocratic control of politics and left a legacy of power derived from the will of the people. His rise shows how populist leaders can reshape political landscapes by directly appealing to the masses, and how fear of change can drive elites to drastic measures to protect their power. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Julius Caesar's use of populism. If you enjoyed this exploration of history, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. Leave a comment below and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover next.